They want you weak. They want you obedient. They'll tell you that focusing on yourself is selfish, that true strength comes from serving everyone else before you. But that is the greatest deception of power. Weakness is not born from isolation, it is born from distraction. When your energy is scattered across the noise and opinions of others, you become small, diluted, and forgettable. But when you turn inward, when you train your mind and body with ruthless self-discipline, you become untouchable. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this truth. A man who cannot command himself will never command anyone else. Self-discipline is not kindness. It is a form of cruelty, not toward others, but toward your own weakness. Every excuse you create, every temptation you entertain, every delay you allow is an act of betrayal against your potential. Weakness must be killed daily. The mind must be sharpened into a weapon. The emotions must be bent into submission. The body must obey without hesitation. Discipline is not comfort, it is control, and control is the essence of power. Law number 1, the law of sacrifice. Power is never free. It is earned through sacrifice. Every man who has risen to command, every empire that has endured, was built not only on victories, but on the ashes of what was given up along the way. To believe that greatness can be reached without loss is the delusion of the weak. You cannot hold on to everything and still rise above everyone. The weak cling to comfort. They refuse to let go of their pleasures, their distractions, their need for validation, and so they remain chained. Soft men rot inside their own indulgence, enslaved by appetites that drain their strength. The disciplined man is different. He knows that what he surrenders today becomes the foundation of what he will command tomorrow. To him, sacrifice is not a wound, it's a weapon. Machiavelli taught that rulers are not crowned because of what they gain, but because of what they are willing to abandon. Comfort must die. Distraction must be cut out. The need for approval must be buried. Discipline demands destruction before creation, the burning away of everything that dilutes your power. Sacrifice your sleep, because the hours before dawn belong to the ambitious. Sacrifice your distractions, because attention is the rarest resource in a world drowning in noise. Sacrifice your need for approval, because the man who bends to public opinion has already surrendered his crown. Every indulgence denied is proof that nothing owns you. Every temptation resisted strengthens your command over yourself. The masses live in addiction to comfort, feeding on entertainment, lust, and laziness, and then envy those who rise above them. But you, if you embrace sacrifice, will not walk among them. You will turn silence into focus, denial into strength, and loss into transformation. Sacrifice is not punishment, it is initiation. The coward mourns what he loses, the strategist calculates what he gains. Discipline is not about keeping everything, it's about cutting away everything that corrupts you. Once you understand that, sacrifice becomes liberation, proof that you are no longer owned by weakness, but ruled by your own will. Law number 2, mastery of time. Time is the rarest currency of power, yet it is the one most men waste without thought. Every second that slips away is gone forever, and every wasted moment is a gift to the enemy that wants you weak. Power does not belong to the most talented or ambitious. It belongs to the man who rules his hours like a tyrant. Discipline is measured not in words, but in how you treat time. Do you command it, or does it command you? The masses live as if their time were infinite, drowning in distraction and delay, convincing themselves that someday they will begin.
But someday is the lie that buries dreams. Death marches closer with every heartbeat, and hesitation is its most loyal ally. The weak man hesitates, he delays, he plans but never acts. His life dissolves into fragments, wasted hours, forgotten ambitions. The disciplined man sees time differently. Each hour is a soldier under his command, deployed with precision, purpose, and power. He doesn't wait for motivation. Action itself is his motivation. He doesn't wait for the perfect moment. He bends the moment into obedience. Machiavelli warned that hesitation is the silent death of rulers. Those who pause lose the advantage. Those who delay become prey. Mastery of time is not about being busy, it's about being intentional. Every task, every silence, every breath must bend toward your rise. Because when you control time, you control life itself. Mornings are not meant to be wasted in confusion. They are forged into rituals of clarity and power. The strong do not wake to chaos, they rise to purpose. Their minds are sharpened, their intent unshakable. True warriors are not drowned in indulgence, they are fortified through reflection, strategy, and relentless preparation. To rule time is to strip away everything that steals it. Distractions must be slaughtered. Weak routines must be destroyed. Every minute must either sharpen you or advance you, nothing in between. Understand this: the man who treats time casually will forever kneel before the one who wields it as a weapon. Discipline means chaining your minutes, enslaving your hours, and bending every single day toward your rise. Time does not serve you, it devours you. And only the ruthless, the Machiavellian, have the strength to reverse that order, to make time their servant instead of their executioner. Law number 3. Command of emotion. Emotion is the chain that binds weak men. Anger blinds them, fear paralyzes them, desire enslaves them. They glorify it as passion, as humanity, but in truth it is weakness wearing a noble mask. Power does not belong to the man who feels deeply, but to the man who feels, yet remains unmoved. Self-discipline means commanding your emotions with the same cruelty you command your time. Look at the masses, tossed around by every impulse, laughing when the crowd laughs, raging when the mob rages, weeping on command. They are predictable, and predictability is death to power. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He taught that rulers must appear to feel, but never be ruled by what they feel. Emotion may be worn as armor, as disguise, but it must never be allowed to sit on the throne within. The disciplined man does not destroy emotion. He bends it. He turns rage into precision. He turns fear into preparation. He turns desire into drive. Emotion becomes his instrument, never his master.
To suppress emotion is to bury it until it explodes. To master it is to chain it, direct it, and use it as a weapon. How many men have fallen because of a single moment of emotional weakness? One word spoken in anger can destroy years of respect. One flicker of fear can erase opportunity. One indulgence of desire can ruin an empire, a family, a legacy. History is littered with rulers who lost their crowns not because of enemies, but because they could not command themselves. Discipline demands you act from strategy, never from feeling. Coldness is not a flaw, it is armor. The world wants you reactive, emotional, predictable, because a predictable man is easy to manipulate. But the one who can sit in silence while others rage, who stays calm when others panic, who smiles when others provoke, that man is untouchable. Emotion is the servant of the disciplined, never the master. Command your emotions, and you will command yourself. Command yourself, and you will command everyone still enslaved by their own. Law number 4. Isolation and focus. The crowd is the enemy of clarity. Surrounded by noise, a man cannot hear his own thoughts. Surrounded by opinions, he cannot trust his own judgment. Surrounded by constant demands, his will fractures, his edge dulls, his destiny dissolves into mediocrity.
No man becomes powerful while drowning in the crowd. Power is never born in noise. It is built in silence. It is forged in solitude, through separation, through the ruthless discipline of isolation. The weak fear being alone. They suffocate in silence because solitude exposes the truth they've been running from, their own emptiness. Without distraction, they are forced to face themselves, and most cannot bear the reflection. So they drown in noise, music always playing, screens always glowing, voices always buzzing. They hide in the crowd because the crowd demands nothing from them. But the disciplined man knows better. He does not flee silence, he rules it. He does not fear solitude, he thrives in it. In isolation, he studies himself like a strategist studies an enemy. He refines his habits, he sharpens his will, he builds the fortress of his mind. Machiavelli understood that rulers must sometimes vanish to remain powerful. A man who is always visible becomes predictable, and predictability invites destruction. Discipline demands distance, the ability to withdraw, to disappear, to sharpen unseen. Focus cannot survive in chaos. It must be protected with cruelty. Isolation is not weakness, it is concentration. You are not escaping the world, you are preparing to bend it when you return. Every hour spent in solitude is an investment that multiplies. While the masses waste themselves in shallow pleasures, you forge your purpose into a blade. While they scatter their attention, you condense yours into fire. Understand this. The world worships distraction. It rewards those who entertain themselves to death, who flood their minds with noise until deep thought becomes impossible. That is why focus is now the rarest and most valuable resource. The disciplined man guards it like treasure. He does not open his mind to every voice. He does not give his time, attention, or energy freely. These are his weapons, and they are reserved only for what strengthens his rise. This is the law of isolation and focus. Step away from the crowd. Master your silence. Forge your mind in solitude. When you return, you will not be the same man. You will return colder, sharper, unshakable. While the crowd remains lost in its noise, you will have become untouchable.
Law number 5. The discipline of silence. Silence is not absence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power in its purest, most concentrated form. The man who speaks endlessly reveals his mind, his motives, his fears. But the man who holds his tongue reveals nothing, and that nothing is terrifying. In silence, there is mystery, and mystery is the currency of control. Weak men despise silence because it forces them to face themselves, their insecurities, their emptiness, their lack of discipline. So they talk, they ramble, they fill every quiet space with noise, trying to convince themselves and everyone else that they matter. But in truth, their words are confessions. Every sentence exposes a weakness. Every attempt to be heard reveals what they fear most. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote of rulers who destroyed their advantage by revealing too much, kings who explained themselves, exposed their intentions, and gave away their strategy before the first move. A ruler, he warned, must know when to speak, but above all, when not to. Silence unsettles. Silence manipulates. Silence forces others into positions of weakness. Think of silence as a battlefield. The undisciplined rush forward, swinging wildly with words, revealing their position. The disciplined waits, unmoving, observing, invisible. When he finally strikes, one word from him cuts deeper than 1,000 from his opponent. Watch the ordinary man in a conversation. He cannot endure 2 seconds of quiet. He laughs nervously. He fills the space with meaningless chatter. He interrupts. Why? Because silence makes him vulnerable. In that void, his mind begins to race. Do they judge me? Do they think I'm weak? Do they think I have nothing to say? His insecurity devours him. So he talks. And in talking, he betrays himself. Every unnecessary word lowers a man's value. The more he explains, the smaller he becomes. The more he justifies, the guiltier he appears. The more he talks, the more predictable he becomes. And predictability is the death of power. The disciplined man is different. He speaks rarely, but when he does, every word is chosen with precision. He is comfortable in silence, because silence works for him. He lets others expose themselves while he remains unreadable. He does not fear silence, he weaponizes it. Silence is not emptiness, it is a mask. And through that mask, you become whatever others project onto you. To some, your silence appears as wisdom. To others, as strength. To your enemies, as danger. In their projections, you gain control. The Machiavellian man uses silence as a mirror, letting others speak until they reveal their weaknesses, their agendas, their desires. Meanwhile, he offers nothing. By the time the weak man realizes what he's confessed, it's already too late. His words have armed his rival. Silence grants vision. It sharpens perception. It allows you to see patterns others miss. It keeps you calm while others crumble. While they speak, you calculate. While they react, you observe. Silence makes you appear composed when others panic, confident when others doubt, and dangerous when others underestimate you.
The discipline of silence is most powerful in conflict. In argument, the weak man raises his voice, mistaking volume for dominance. But shouting is noise, and noise is weakness. The disciplined man does not shout. He waits. He lets his opponent drown in his own noise. And when he finally speaks, his words strike with precision, one sentence that ends the conversation entirely. In negotiation, silence becomes leverage. The weak rush to fill it, revealing desperation, conceding too much. The disciplined man holds silence like a blade to the throat of his opponent, forcing him to speak first, to expose his hand. Under the weight of silence, the undisciplined always break. In leadership, silence creates gravity. When a ruler speaks rarely, his words carry immense weight. When he remains silent, his followers whisper, "What is he thinking? What is he planning? What will he do?" That uncertainty feeds his power. Understand this: silence is feared because it removes certainty. The human mind craves answers, signals, and reassurance. Silence denies all of them. A pause in conversation makes the weak panic. An unanswered question makes them insecure. A calm silence during chaos makes them doubt their own strength. This is the psychology of power, not to speak, but to control what your silence makes others feel. When you master silence, you force others to wrestle with their own minds. They begin to project their fears onto you, second-guess their judgments, and weaken themselves without you lifting a single finger. Silence doesn't dominate through aggression, it dominates through absence. But silence is more than the refusal to speak. It is the art of restraint. To practice the discipline of silence means refusing to reveal your plans before they are complete. It means holding back emotions that others waste in public displays. It means controlling your presence, your reactions, your energy. When you withhold your words, you become unreadable. When you withhold your reactions, you become unshakable. When you withhold your emotions, you become untouchable. The undisciplined man lives outwardly, always explaining, always displaying his thoughts, his fears, his need for validation. The disciplined man lives inwardly, revealing nothing except what he chooses, when he chooses. That is how kings are made. Because silence is not only a weapon against others, it is a weapon against yourself. In silence, you confront your own thoughts without distraction. You see your weaknesses, your illusions, your patterns. You sharpen your awareness. This is why the weak avoid silence, because silence exposes them. But the man of discipline seeks it. He knows that silence is the forge where identity is shaped, will is strengthened, and power is built. Use silence strategically. Use it to unnerve enemies, to dominate negotiations, to amplify the weight of your words when you finally speak. Use it to craft your image, to appear colder, wiser, and stronger than you truly are. Let silence make your presence heavier, so that when you break it, people listen. But above all, use silence on yourself. Cut through the endless noise that clouds your focus. Learn to sit in stillness for hours, training patience, sharpening perception, building discipline. Because if you cannot master your own silence, you will never control the silence of others.
Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is strategy. The weak talk. The strong calculate. The weak explain. The strong remain unreadable. The weak shout. The strong wait. Then strike once. Machiavelli understood that a ruler must appear in control even when chaos reigns, and nothing projects control like calm silence. To master silence is to master perception. To master perception is to master power. So discipline yourself, speak less, listen more, and withdraw your words until they are sharp enough to wound. Let your silence become the pressure others cannot endure. Become the one who never overreacts, never over-explains, never reveals more than necessary. In your silence, others will feel confusion. In your silence, others will feel respect. In your silence, others will feel power. Seal this truth into your identity. Comment below, "My silence is my power." Etch it into your words until it becomes etched into your mind. Because when silence becomes your discipline, your voice becomes a weapon. And in the hands of the disciplined, every weapon reshapes the world. Number 6, the discipline of adaptability. Rigidity is the death of power. The man who refuses to change will break beneath the weight of reality. He clings to old habits, outdated strategies, and an identity that no longer serves him until the world shifts and he collapses. Then he curses fate, blames others, and wonders why he fell. The truth is simple. He failed because he could not adapt. Discipline is not just self-control. It is the ability to evolve the self. The man who is disciplined but rigid is like iron left in the rain, strong but rusting, unbending, doomed to snap under pressure. The disciplined man who is also adaptable, however, is like tempered steel. He bends without breaking, adjusts without losing strength, and constantly sharpens himself. The masses admire consistency because predictability comforts them. They praise the man who never changes, but what they call loyalty is often stagnation. Predictability is not strength, it is vulnerability. A predictable man can be anticipated, manipulated, and defeated. His moves are known, his limits are exposed. He becomes a prisoner of his own identity. The Machiavellian man knows the opposite truth. Real consistency lies in adaptability.
His principles never waver. His ambition, his discipline, his pursuit of power remain unshakable. But his methods evolve endlessly. When strength is required, he strikes. When cunning is required, he deceives. When patience is needed, he waits in silence. And when ruthlessness is demanded, he delivers it without hesitation. Machiavelli himself warned that fortune favors the flexible. A ruler who clings to mercy when cruelty is needed will be destroyed. A ruler who clings to cruelty when diplomacy is demanded will fall just the same. Power demands transformation. To survive, a man must be many things: calm observer, patient planner, decisive predator. History is filled with men who clung too tightly to their ways until those ways killed them. But the adaptable man, the disciplined chameleon, survives every storm. Because he knows that while the world changes shape, his power lies in changing with it.
But the adaptable man builds himself on bedrock. If his strength falters, his cunning takes over. If his wealth disappears, his strategy remains. If his charm fades, his silence dominates. He is never without weapons. Look around you. The modern world moves faster than any in history. Technology, politics, culture, power, all shift with brutal speed. The man who cannot adapt becomes obsolete, irrelevant, broken. He is a relic of yesterday. But the adaptable man thrives. He bends with the current without ever losing his direction. Weak men complain about change. They beg for stability. They cling to the past because it feels safe. But safety is death. Stagnation is decay. Change is the only constant. And the Machiavellian man uses it as fuel. He anticipates it, studies it, prepares for it. When others panic, he adjusts. When others resist, he evolves. And while they fall, he rises. Discipline without adaptability is brittle, a routine that exists for its own sake, a habit without purpose. Adaptability transforms discipline into a weapon. It ensures every ounce of effort, every sacrifice, every moment of focus can be redirected when the terrain shifts. In battle, adaptability is changing tactics to outmaneuver the enemy. In business, it is adjusting your strategy to seize opportunity. In life, it is reinventing yourself when the old version no longer serves. The disciplined man does not cling to who he once was. He destroys that version when it limits him. He sheds his skin again and again, returning sharper, colder, and more dangerous each time. Adaptability is not compromise. Compromise is surrender. Adaptability is transformation. The core remains unbroken, but the form evolves endlessly. To the outside world, you may appear different. Your tone, your style, your mask may change, but within you, the will remains absolute. The relentless pursuit of power. Adaptability unsettles people because it makes you unreadable. They expect you to stay the same, to be predictable, to play by their expectations. When you change form, they lose control. They cannot categorize you, cannot anticipate you, cannot plan against you, and in their confusion, you gain power. Weak men will call you inconsistent. They will say you're fake, that you wear masks, that you change too much. Let them. Their criticism is proof of their weakness. They cling to one identity because they are too fragile to evolve. They fear change because change would destroy them. You, however, thrive in it. This is why adaptability is a Machiavellian discipline. It makes you untouchable. Rivals cannot anticipate you. Enemies cannot corner you. The world cannot pin you down. You become like water, able to flow around any obstacle, to crash through when necessary, to take any shape, and still remain yourself. Discipline without adaptability is a cage. You may master yourself, but if you cannot move with the world will crush you. The man who is both disciplined and adaptable, however, is free. He bends when he must, hardens when he must, disappears when he must, and reemerges when the time is right. He cannot be trapped because he is never the same man twice. This is the law. Remain unshakable in your will, but endlessly flexible in your methods. Be constant in your pursuit of power, but fluid in how you seize it. Shed your old self as many times as necessary. Reinvent, reshape, rebirth. Because the world cannot defeat what it cannot predict.
Every layer of willpower is forged in the fire of hardship. Pain is not a curse to fear, it is a signal that transformation has begun. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this intimately. He observed rulers born into comfort, soft men raised in luxury, surrounded by indulgence, shielded from struggle. And when the storms of life arrived, rebellion, betrayal, crisis, they collapsed beneath their own softness. They could command armies, but not themselves. They could wear crowns, but not bear their weight. In contrast, the rulers who had known deprivation, who had walked through hunger, failure, and loss, those were the dangerous ones. Hardship had stripped them of fragility. Pain had carved out endurance. Suffering had reforged them into iron. And when the throne tested them, they stood unshaken. This is why pain must not merely be endured. It must be embraced as a discipline. It is not enough to suffer by accident. You must suffer by choice. You must train your mind and body to withstand discomfort willingly, not reluctantly. Wake when you are exhausted, work when you are uninspired, persist when every part of you craves rest. Each time you override your weakness, you strengthen your will. Each moment you face pain instead of fleeing it, you sharpen your soul like a blade against stone. Weak men see discipline and complain of suffering. They say it's too hard, too demanding, too painful, and that is precisely why they remain weak. In running from pain, they are running from their own potential. They trade the fire that could forge them for the comfort that destroys them. They pay for ease with mediocrity. They choose temporary relief and purchase permanent fragility. The disciplined man sees differently. He knows pain is the greatest currency. Every hardship endured is an investment in strength. Every struggle survived is proof of control. Every scar is a signature that says, I was tested and I did not break. Pain is not punishment, it is refinement. The man who has walked through fire no longer fears the flame. The man who has bled in training no longer trembles in battle. The man who has endured pain with discipline possesses a calm that chaos cannot touch. Discipline demands that you treat pain as a tool. Physical pain builds resilience. Emotional pain builds detachment. Psychological pain builds clarity. Together, they forge a man who cannot be shaken. The undisciplined man crumbles under insult, collapses under rejection, retreats in failure. But the disciplined man welcomes these as teachers. Insult hardens his mind. Rejection builds indifference to approval. Failure exposes weakness and gives him something to sharpen.
Think of the man who trains his body with iron. The weight burns, the muscles tear, yet through that pain, strength grows. The same law governs the mind. Discipline demands that you carry heavy things, long hours of focus, delayed gratification, rejection of indulgence, restraint of emotion. These are weights for the soul. They ache, they sting, they burn, but through them power is built. Comfort builds nothing. Pain builds everything. The undisciplined man fears pain because he thinks it defines him. The disciplined man embraces it because he knows it refines him. He doesn't beg for an easier path. He demands the path that will test him most. Because only through the test can he prove himself worthy of power. Weakness is revealed in avoidance. Strength is revealed in endurance. Understand this. Suffering is not the end, it is the beginning. Pain is not destruction, it is transformation. The world worships comfort, but comfort corrupts. The world fears pain, but pain purifies. And those who embrace it rise above the masses. They become untouchable. So, discipline yourself to see pain differently. When it comes, do not complain. Do not seek pity. Do not flee. Face it. Study it. Use it. Every hardship becomes a stone in the foundation of your strength. Every scar becomes armor. Every trial becomes proof that you cannot be broken. There is no throne without scars. There is no crown without suffering. The law of power is absolute. The man who embraces pain will rule the man who avoids it. And when the day comes that you stand above the crowd, stronger, colder, more controlled, it will not be because life spared you from suffering. It will be because you met it, endured it, and forged it into a weapon. The disciplined man understands a timeless truth. Power is not only built, it is crafted. He doesn't merely strengthen himself, he designs himself. He doesn't just seek mastery over his mind. He seeks mastery over how the world perceives his mind. Weak men make the fatal error of believing authenticity alone is enough. They think that being themselves will earn respect. But authenticity without refinement is exposure, not power. If your natural self is sloppy, insecure, or undisciplined, then being yourself is not virtue, it's vulnerability. The world does not reward rawness. It rewards presentation. It rewards the version of you that commands attention and evokes emotion. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He wrote that a ruler does not need to be virtuous, only to appear so. He does not need to be merciful, only to display mercy when it serves him. He does not need to be fearless, only to appear fearless when others tremble. People do not see the truth of your soul. They see the image you project. Control that image and you control their belief. And once you control their belief, you control their behavior. This is the law of perception. Appearance becomes reality in the minds of the masses. The disciplined man uses this law as a weapon. Every movement, every silence, every gesture is intentional. He wastes nothing. The undisciplined wander through life leaking insecurity. Their posture, tone, and words betray them. But the disciplined walk through the world armored in precision. Their speech is measured. Their expressions are composed. Their silence is deliberate. They reveal nothing they do not wish to reveal.
History's greatest leaders understood this secret. They were not always the strongest, the smartest, or the most moral, but they mastered image. They appeared calm in chaos, confident in doubt, unshaken in fear. Their true selves were human, uncertain, flawed, but the world never saw that. What the world saw was the mask, and that was enough. Because the masses are not thinkers, they are feelers. They respond not to logic, but to presence. A firm voice convinces more than a true argument. A confident posture inspires more than an honest confession. The undisciplined man destroys himself by revealing too much. He over-explains, over-talks, over-shares. He exposes his fears, his anger, his desperation, and then wonders why people lose respect for him. He mistakes vulnerability for strength. But respect does not come from honesty, it comes from power, and power is projected, not confessed.
Discipline of perception means restraint. It means learning the power of silence. It means controlling your posture, your tone, your timing. It means eliminating sloppy habits that betray weakness. Every moment in public is performance, not in the sense of deceit, but in the sense of strategy. You are always being observed, judged, categorized. The disciplined man moves with this awareness, not paranoia, but precision. He understands that every second is an opportunity to strengthen the mask or to shatter it. Perception creates mystery, and mystery is magnetic. When you speak little, people fill in the silence with their imagination. They wonder what you're thinking, planning, hiding. Their curiosity becomes your weapon. Their uncertainty becomes your control. The Machiavellian man understands this perfectly. The less others can define you, the more they fear you, and the harder you are to defeat. But the mask must be maintained. One slip can undo months of mastery. A single moment of emotional leakage, a careless word, a desperate act, and the illusion fractures. This is why discipline cannot fade even in private, because what you practice in private becomes what you project in public. The weak think they can separate the two. They live chaotically in the dark and expect to appear composed in the light. But perception is repetition. Your habits become your aura. So guard your perception relentlessly. Speak less, but when you do, let every word carry weight. Move slowly, deliberately, as if your presence bends the space around you. Dress with intent, for before you speak, your image already communicates. When you leave a room, let your absence linger like a question that cannot be answered. This is not vanity. This is not ego. This is strategy. The world mistakes appearance for truth, so use it. Let them believe you are calmer than you are. Let them believe you are kinder, wiser, or more dangerous than you are. If they believe it, it becomes real in how they treat you. They hesitate, they respect, they yield. Perception shapes behavior, and behavior shapes power. The man who controls perception does not chase control. He becomes control.
Weak men crave recognition. They want to be seen, understood, appreciated for who they really are. They mistake validation for respect and honesty for power. But discipline demands the opposite. You do not beg to be seen. You decide how you will be seen. You do not wait for others to understand you. You control what they understand. Perception is not about truth. It is about influence. And influence requires masks. The world will call this deception. Let them. The entire world runs on illusion. Nations are united by flags, colored fabric that men are willing to kill and die for. Religions are bound by symbols and stories that shape behavior through belief. Even money, the god of modern society, is nothing but paper and numbers. Yet it commands armies, builds empires, and destroys lives. Illusion has always ruled reality. To deny this is weakness. To master it is power. So discipline yourself to wear the right mask at the right moment. Show mercy only when it serves your purpose. Show cruelty only when it secures your control. Never show fear. Never show desperation. Reveal only what strengthens your image. Become unreadable. Become untouchable. Become the man whose silence carries more authority than others shouting, whose stillness speaks louder than noise, whose presence alone bends the room around him. Perception is your armor, the shield that hides your flaws, the blade that carves your reputation, the cloak that makes you unreachable. With it, you enter every battlefield already half victorious. Without it, even real strength will be ignored or dismissed. Remember this immutable truth. Men do not obey reality. They obey their perception of it. Control perception, and you control obedience. The discipline of perception is not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about ensuring that what others see always serves your rise. Build your mask with discipline. Polish it with silence. Protect it with control. Let the world see only what you choose and nothing more. And when the moment to strike arrives, your image will already have done half the work. Number 9. The discipline of legacy. Legacy is the final discipline, the one that outlives the flesh. Comfort dies with you, pleasure fades with you, but discipline endures beyond your lifetime. Weak men vanish when they die. Strong men echo. What you build through sacrifice, control, and silence becomes your immortality. Flesh rots, reputation remains. That is the highest form of power, to exist long after you are gone. So carve your name into time through action, not noise. Let every sacrifice sharpen your mark on the world, because though the body ends, the legacy of discipline does not. If this message struck you, like the video. It shows strength. Share it with those who need discipline, not comfort. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because every lesson ahead will forge you sharper, colder, and untouchable.